One of the national values and principles of governance, according to the Constitution of Kenya, Article number 10, is equity, and also in line with our strategic goals and outcomes that we are pursuing over the period in line with our strategic plan is equity. We are implementing a governance program in partnership with the Kenya Women Parliamentary Association, which is a cross-party caucus for women legislators, both in Senate and in the National Assembly. Some of the governance issues or key areas of reform that we are even intervening around, and of course backed up by evidence, is the issue around the underrepresentation of women, in leadership positions. And when you look at this and what this definitely means when it comes to promoting gender and health outcomes, and not only these two sectors, you'll realize that there is need to promote and to increase, the participation of women in these decision-making spaces. And just to mention that substantial evidence shows that, women form 50% of Kenya's population, but when you look at their representation in decision-making spaces, and platforms, they are underrepresented. And also to mention that women's participation in governance and accountability structures, improves them. And this is because women are able to articulate these issues. Women are able to also represent these issues in, decision-making processes. So there is need for us to promote inclusivity in leadership and also in the governance space. Number two, we have gender-responsive public financial management. There is a framework by the World Bank, that is the PEFA framework, that assesses country strengths, in PFM, looking at the strengths and weaknesses. When you look at Kenya's performance, or how Kenya is ranked in terms of promoting gender-responsive public financial management, there are gaps that we need to intervene around. And one of the areas that we're intervening around is, promoting the implementation of gender-responsive budgeting, looking at how we can enhance the implementation of the gender-responsive budgeting guidelines. But when you look at how, the uptake has been, little has been done. When you look at, budgets by ministries, departments, and agencies, you'll realize that, budgets are not tagged. Budgets are not signposted as gender-responsive. So it is hard, for us to follow through and tell what is the impact? These are the commitments that the government has in terms of promoting gender and equality. Resources have been set aside for the same, but when it comes to tracking, the impact of the same, then there is a gap. So in line with that, we have been engaging women leaders, and also, male leaders who have come in as part of the program, in the understanding that changing the status quo is not a women-only agenda, but we need to have men in the conversation who are, promoting gender-responsive budgeting. So we call them the male allies who are shaping, the conversation around gender and inclusion. IPF is big on research, providing technical assistance, capacity strengthening, coaching and mentorship, and also advocacy. So in line with our approach to our work as an institution, one of the key areas of intervention and how this program is modeled is providing capacity strengthening, technical assistance and support to women leaders. And this has been around gender transformative policy making and also gender responsive budgeting, as well as, providing them with, evidence, to bridge the technical evidence gap through our analytic products. At IPF, some of our analytic products include the macrofiscal analytic snapshot and also the annual national shadow budget, which are critical and core tools when it comes to, providing the women leaders with, evidence for them to do advocacy around resourcing and allocation for health and gender. At the subnational level, we have had quite robust and I'll call them fulfilling engagements with women representatives, across 11 counties. and also bringing on board our gender responsive budget advocates. This is a pool of budget champions who have previously been trained by IPF on, PFM, the budget making process, the planning process, who understand, how priorities should transition right from the planning documents to the budget documents. So what we have done strategically is to, loop in the aspect around gender responsive budgeting, training them on the whole concept around gender responsive budgeting, so that they can continue to do advocacy at the subnational level and ensure that they are holding the county governments to account, to ensure that even as they plan, as they budget, then they are putting into consideration, the value and principle of governance around equity and inclusion. We were able to also do a policy brief that reimagines gender responsive budgeting at the subnational level. And for this, we were able to do a citizen assessment on the level of government commitment to implement gender responsive budgeting. One of the key successes or wins for this program, it's been 2 years since this program implementation started, is we are seeing more women leaders engage in governance and accountability structures. We are seeing them more confidently engage during key budget moments and discussions on the floor of the House. For example, during the budget policy statement discussions, during the budget estimates for the financial year 2024-2025, and also now 2025-2026, we've seen them, engage in a more meaningful way. And of course, this has been made better, I believe, through the support, technical assistance and support that IPF has been providing. Also to mention that we have been, intentional and very strategic, to provide them with sector-specific, briefs that normally speaks to some of the issues that they can advocate for as they engage around health, financing, and also resourcing for gender. So there is need for sustained advocacy. So building on the momentum that, we have established over time, there is need to carry on and progress, when it comes to undertaking advocacy and just speaking to areas of reform and pursuing them, through the engagements on the floor of the House. Going forward, we want to expand the scope of this program to also include women's economic empowerment and care priorities. And we want to pursue this through our strategic, logic in terms of how we want to pursue this. Revolves around, providing technical assistance, capacity, coaching and mentorship, for women leaders and also the male leaders who will now be the we advocates, on the floor of the House, supporting women leaders to push for, more priorities